Okay, good morning. We're going to talk about organized stalking, also known as gang or group stalking. I believe that Micah, throughout the years, has been a victim of this, either through elders of the church or people from the church, or JP's family members, and with the help of law enforcement, doctors, lawyers, and whatnot in the area. Now, gang stalking is a systemic campaign of harassment deliberately carried out by a group against an individual, aiming to isolate and intimidate through disruptive tactics. Now, why is this important at this moment? A lot of reports are coming out that on the day of her death, she had been stalked, gang stalked. And to prove that, we need to prove it's been happening all along, which we can. That's the point that's being made here, okay? So bear with me. Disruptive tactics are like surveillance, for example. Surveillance can be tracking devices put on her car. There's also one where, let's say when he had her laptop, you can install programs, malware, to where remotely you'd be able to watch then when she gets the laptop back, what she's typing, what password she's putting in, who she's speaking to, who's emailing her, who she's emailing, and all that kind of information. Also manipulating social media accounts, hiring private investigators, and some private investigators are known for hiring group stalkers. Not all. So please, private investigators, do not come into my comments and start attacking me. I said some. They watch and sometimes even record the target's activities. There'll be continuous emails and text messages and voicemails, also part of this surveillance. And these tactics are not easily captured because it's usually a large group of people doing it. Now, vandalism is also another tactic, which is destruction of property. Gaslighting also, which is a form of psychological abuse to sow seeds of doubt into the target's mind, usually about themselves or their family or friends, to try to wear away at target's self-confidence. There's also disinformation, where false information intended to mislead and or deceive, usually planted by rumors or propaganda against the target, in this case Micah, to destroy their reputation or to destroy their life. Now, the National Library of Medicine in 2020 referred to this group stalking as a phenomenon. They said that there was a much higher and greater percentage of women as targets than men. This type of stalking denotes a pattern of repeated and unwanted intrusion by a group of people into the life of the target to cause great distress and fear. A group of stalkers is supposed to make up 3 or more people, but they're finding that it makes up 5 or more. The larger the group, the more difficult to identify the offenders. Victims have resulted one way or another with PTSD, depression, and or difficulty in social functioning. In 2023 on Justia, Justia is a website that is solely for the legal profession in all aspects. A person in New Jersey was requesting the assistance in finding an attorney in suing the government, in this case the FBI, for group stalking, and in this instance it was referred to COINTELPRO, which is counterintelligence program. The complaint was regarding stalkers ranging from retired police officers to street thugs. They said they would be there repeatedly, they being the stalkers, as the person left and entered their home. Some would appear in local sport team attires to give the impression of being from the area. Through FOIA, this person obtained body cam footage and CCTV footage to prove the group was stalking them. According to gangstalkingworld.com, there's a petition out to the U.S. Supreme Court to stop all types of group stalking, no matter who hires them, even if it's the feds or the military. They say organized stalking is a form of terrorism. It's used against an individual in a malicious attempt to reduce the quality of that person's life. This is done by well-orchestrated surveillance, rumors, lies, bogus investigations, setups and framings, intimidation, overt and covert threats, vandalism, theft, sabotage, humiliation, emotional terror, and general harassment through ganging up on the target. Potential reasons for a group stalking, according to this website, is to torture the target, to leech off the target monetarily, to attempt control of the target, to reduce the quality of life of the target, to drive the target insane, and to ultimately kill the target, either through pushing them to unalive themselves or by other means, which would be murder. Usually the people who hire these group stalkers are known as the FBI, private investigators, not all private investigators, military, and law enforcement. Not all law enforcement, but law enforcement has been known to use group stalking. And in some cases, private individuals. This is according to a 2009 article from the U.S. Department of Justice and a 2012 article from the National Center for Victims' Crime Stalking Fact Sheet. Okay. JP to Micah. So what has he done throughout the years to her to prove that this was most likely possible what happened to her on the day of her death? Tracking devices on her cars, vandalizes her tires, keyed her car, JP's son following her. We hear her say that in the 911 call. Private investigator tracking her. We don't know if this PI even hired his own group of stalkers. Stealing her cell phone, stealing her laptop, stealing her notary stamp, sabotaging her missions ministry, tried to set her up and frame her for missing money out of a ministry account, constant relentless texts, emails, incorporating the assistance of the elders from the church, forced hospitalization, forced medication, gaslighting her into believing she needed this medication and that she was actually mentally ill. There were ignored complaints by Micah to the elders and law enforcement, violating her by putting intimate photos of her on the internet, pushing a false narrative against her as mentally ill, and as an adulterer, even after her death. There was reports of JP leaving her dog on the doorknob of the apartment, and God only knows, probably for hours. And then just recently, this legal assistant coming forward from a divorce attorney office on the Robbie Harvey show and saying that he was looking for a shark as a divorce attorney for himself and wanted to destroy her. Now, why is this important? Like I said, there's a lot of reports coming out to show that she was gang stalked on the very day that she died. I also believe, as I said, that she has been gang stalked throughout the years with the help of many people. I believe now that Micah's gone, these people have now taken to the internet. They either create groups of hatred against the family and Micah and any content creator that seeks justice for her, or they go into various chats and they viciously try to debunk the person trying to find the truth about what happened to Mike on that day, or in constant support of JP, like True Crime Re and the Duttons and whatnot. And I think that they should be treated accordingly as stalkers, as people who probably drove her to her death. Now, what does the word say? 1 Peter 5:8, be alert, be on watch. Your enemy, the devil, roams around like a roaring lion, looking for someone to devour. Ephesians 6:11, put on all the armor that God gives you so that you will be able to stand up against the devil's evil tricks. It says to expose evil, not love it and encourage it and hug it and be kind to it. No, it says expose it. And that includes the evil people. And so now that you know this, now that you know that it's very possible, highly likely, that the very people who drove her to her death and probably assisted on the day of her death have been stalking her all along and harassing her, have now brought themselves onto the internet to complete the job. Remember, early on, they wanted to hire for $350 a person to dig into content creators. Fake calls being made to Robbie Harvey. I've heard from multiple people. They've received text messages from people they don't even know. Threats online from people. These are the harassers, ladies and gentlemen. And they're still at it. Remember, the next time you see somebody defending JP, disparaging the family, disparaging Micah, it doesn't necessarily mean it has to be JP. It could be one of his, as I put, flying monkeys. These are the people who are potentially the harassers or the part of the group stalking. Okay? Take that into consideration the next time you see them. And this proves that it's highly possible, very possible, that on the day of her death, these very harassers were part of her demise. So, with that being said, happy Labor Day to all my brothers and sisters in the United States. And until the next time I see you, God bless.